The subject of today's video is bike locks. How do you secure your e-bike? I know that when I got my first e-bike, when it was on the way, the first thing I did was get online and start researching different kinds of locks and what I should get, and it was confusing. So I've got a few here that I've purchased, and I want to give you my thoughts on bike locks and how to secure your bike. First of all, I want to thank Magicycle for sponsoring this video. They make an excellent product. I love this bike. I ride it on trails. I ride it in the city. It's got a smooth operating system. It's powerful on the hills. So be sure and check out their products. Check the links below, and also check out their new commuter bike, which is belt drive, and also their Ocelot Pro, which is a long-range 20-inch fat tire e-bike. There's so many different kinds of locks. You have your chain lock, your U-lock, cable lock, folding lock, motorcycle lock. Which one's best for you? Which lock you choose depends a lot on where you live and the kind of riding you do. If you live in a major city, you got to go all out. You got to go for the big guns. You got to spend some money on a lock. If you live in a small town, that doesn't mean you're necessarily safe. Just maybe not it might not be as critical as it would be in a city where things can disappear in seconds. Things can disappear in seconds here too, I suppose. Probably at the bottom of the rung is a cable lock. These are like no lock. The only time I would use this cable lock, and I do use the cable lock, is when my bike really isn't unattended. It's like when I'm just stepping out for a second and maybe I need to turn my back on my bike for a second or two or a minute to use the bathroom or something like that. That's the only purpose for a cable lock. These can be defeated with a pair of cable cutters in one snip, and that's it. So from there we'd go to a chain lock like this. It's got a nylon coating on it so it doesn't scratch your bike up. This one's I believe it's a 5/16. I don't think it's a 3/8. Might be a 3/8. But you can buy them in different thicknesses, 1/4 inch, 5/16, 3/8. The thing about these is they're handy. You can wrap them around your seat and lock them up that way, so you can carry it with you. This one is too short. This one is an 18-inch, and it doesn't go around very much. This would only work if you're using the same bike rack every day that's real tight fitting and you know that this will go around it. So this one's actually too small. I would recommend maybe something more like 30 inches, even 36 inches. So 36-inch chain is only going to give you an 18-inch reach. But the thing about these chain locks is you can't cut them with bolt cutters anymore. I suppose there probably are some that might get through it. It'd be really, really difficult. You'd have to use a grinder to go through a chain lock. So these are easy to use because they bend in different directions and you can wrap them around and fasten them. They're pretty easy. The one thing I don't like is this kind of key. These are real temperamental. I've had these things locked, but not just this lock, but the other one, the U-lock I'm going to show you, where I almost thought I wasn't going to be able to undo the thing again. They're just temperamental. I don't really like them. Giving me problems right now. There we go. But I suppose with a little use it might break in a little more and be all right. Anyways, it's a chain lock. It's a favorite. I like chain locks, although I'd like to get a longer one. The next lock is a U-lock. This is also made by Kryptonite, who made that chain lock. Same thing, it's got the same kind of key on it, that double-sided funny key, but I had problems with this one. But the thing is that Lately it's been working pretty good. I think it was a break-in problem. The thing about these is they lock, the Kryptonite brand, and I don't know about other brands, but it locks on both sides. So a person that tries to cut through one side would have to take the time to cut through the other side too. Now these are hardened steel, so you're not going to cut through them easily. Definitely can't use a bolt cutters on these. They're hardened against that. You'd have to use a grinder on this one too. This is the next step up above a chain lock, I think, because this is thicker. It's going to take longer to cut through. And you can buy these in various side lengths and various strengths too. So the one thing about these is they're harder to pack. It's got this special thing that's supposed to fit into a mount on your bike. I can't find a place on any of my bikes to actually put the mount and lock this in. Doesn't work. So the only time this works for me is if I've got saddlebags, you know, the panniers back here, and I can drop it in a bag or somehow fasten it to the rack of my bike where it's going to bounce and rattle. But this is better for security. Now they do make these that have the U-lock, and it also comes with a cable. So basically, if you're worried about somebody stealing your front wheel, which I guess is a thing, I don't know, but you can lock this to a bike rack or a railing of some kind, and also have the cable go around and secure your front wheel. Now Kryptonite has a model called a Forget About It, and it's their top of the line. I think they're like $150 or something, maybe even more than that. But it's the one that they really guarantee that it's going to be really difficult for somebody to steal your bike. So if this is your insurance, then I suggest you buy the best lock you can find. And I'd look at their Forget About It. I think they comes in both a chain lock and a U-lock. You can get the Forget About It model. Now no lock does you any good if you don't take it with you. So if that's a problem, there are these folding locks. Magicycle sent me this one, and I kind of like it. It's well, for one thing, it just fits right here on the bike frame. So transporting it is really easy. And then it's also one of those that you can't cut with a bolt cutter. You've got to use a disc grinder to go through something like this too. So this has got a plastic sheathing on hardened steel, a folding lock. The only thing about them is, unlike a cable, this one won't twist various different ways. It's more like the U-lock in that it only goes one way. You can't go the other way. But I kind of like it, and I kind of think it's pretty secure. See if I can get it back together. And it just folds up like that for storage. It's pretty neat. I think it's pretty secure. So the thing about is, where you're going to use a lock like this, for me, it's post office, hardware store, and grocery store mainly. So there's no way I would use a cable lock like I showed you to secure my bike in those places. I wouldn't do that at all. I would use this, I would trust this, you know, if I was going in to do a little grocery shopping for a little bit. And the bike rack at the grocery store and the post office and the hardware store, they're right out front where everybody's going in and out. So you're not going to get somebody out there with a battery operated disc grinder grinding through your bike. But if you're riding your bike to work and you've got to leave it unsecured all day while you're in the office, try to take it into the office for one. That'd be your best bet. Another thing you can do is remove the battery, because without the battery, this bike is worthless. Absolutely worthless. You can't hardly pedal these things because they're heavy without that battery assist. So removing the battery is something that I've done if I know I'm going to be in the grocery store for quite a while. I lock the bike up and I take the battery in with me. I've even heard of people taking their bike into the grocery store, and why not? The carts go out into the parking lot and back into the store. So people say they do take their bikes into the grocery store, and the aisles are wide. You can do that. Then there's the motorcycle lock. This one's 9 feet of 3/8 hardened steel links, case hardened steel links. Like I mentioned, it's 9 feet long. The huge lock on this side. What I use this for is securing the bike to my trailer when I'm carrying it in the rack on the back of my trailer. This actually goes down and goes through the hitch of the trailer, the part that's welded on the trailer, or welded, you know, the welded hitch part. That goes through it, comes back and wraps through the bike. This would be a tough one to defeat. So this is how I secure the bike when we're traveling. This one's made by Vero, made in Italy. This is a heavy duty lock, and it's a heavy duty lock. So you're not going to be carrying something like this when you're just going to the grocery store. Then the last thing is a bike alarm. This one's got a remote on it, just like the remote on your car. And it's loud. It's loud and obnoxious. If somebody shakes the bike, if you got it turned on and somebody shakes the bike, that goes off. And I don't think they're going to be wanting to ride too far on with an alarm just blaring as they go down the street. They could, but it's just another deterrent. And these are pretty reasonably priced. You can find them on Amazon. Just look up wireless bike alarms. So out of these locks, what do I suggest? That depends on you, of course, and where you live. It's okay. Number one, buy the best one. None of these that you're looking at are the best one, the top of the line, the most expensive. Like these, this I think was about an $80 lock, as was this one here, about 80 bucks or something like that. And you can easily pay twice that much. But the thing is that this is the hardest one to pack, but probably the most secure. This is almost as secure and a lot easier to pack. Buy the fattest one, a little longer than this one. This one highly recommended for ease of use and security. This one's almost as secure, a lot easier to pack, and not all that expensive. But I don't think I would use one like this for like serious storage, you know. I think I would use something that's heavier duty versions of these. Anyways, that's my suggestion. This one is easy. So this one's always here, and I trust it for like zipping into the store or something like that. I do. But leaving the bike unattended for a while, this one, and pull a battery. Well, there you go, and I hope I gave you some insight as to bike locks and kind of, you know, a little food for thought so you can plan on how to secure your own e-bike. Hope it helped, and if it did, give me a like and a share. Please subscribe, we need that, and I'll see you around.